All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Northeastern University Civil Engineering Alumni Organization's annual alumni dinner. My name is Anna Daske-Beheshti, and I'm the current president of NUCEAO. Unfortunately, the weather did not agree with us today, so we could not do our cocktail hour on the Curry rooftop, but I hope everyone enjoyed their networking and cocktail hour anyway. So, as most of you know, NUCEAO forms the alumni base for Northeastern Civil and Environmental Engineering Department community, and we pride ourselves on supporting the department, current students, and all our tremendous alumni. That's all of you. I don't think I need to dwell on cliches about unprecedented times. We all know the last few years have been weird and challenging, but I'm so happy that we were able to get everyone together tonight to celebrate, reconnect, and honor our esteemed awardees on our beloved Northeastern campus. This year, as a board, NUCEAO was able to host an in-person networking event in the fall at Two Saints Tavern on Gainsborough Street. We put together a 4-part student-oriented panel on Zoom in the late winter, where some of our board members shared some great insight about their careers and their educational paths. And finally, we also hosted a senior breakfast a few weeks ago for the Civil Department's graduating seniors. Tonight, we will be honoring Greg Janey, our 2022 Outstanding Alumni Award recipient. Congratulations. We will hear more from him later this evening. Also later in the program, we will be honoring some students who have achieved successes both academically and in their extracurriculars with some scholarships and awards. I would like to thank our platinum sponsor, Consigli, our gold sponsor, Barletta, silver sponsors, Heather and Thomas Ford, Turner, and Wesson and Sampson, and our Husky level sponsors, Bowler, Gilbane, J.S. Held, Kevel Enterprises, Simpson, Gumpertz and Hager, Wentworth Institute of Technology, and VHB for their contributions to NUCEAO and for helping make our event tonight possible. Before I pass the baton to Department Chair Jerry Hajar, can I ask that the current NUCEAO board members present please stand up for a moment? It has been wonderful being the NUCEAO president these last 2 years. So I'd like to thank the NUCEAO board, those who stood, and the Office of Alumni Relations for all their help and support. If you're interested in joining the NUCEAO board, we are always looking for new members. So please talk to me, anyone you saw standing, or reach out on our website or to Alumni Relations if you're interested in joining next year. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy tonight's program.
Okay, good evening, everybody. It is great to be back in person and to see you all here this evening. It's been a long road for 3 years. So, as some of you may recall, we had a virtual NUCEAO dinner last year, and I said at the time that this was the first ever, and hopefully the last ever, virtual NUCEAO dinner. And I think we should have tonight a rousing cheer and a rousing prayer that that is true. So I would like to thank Anna for her outstanding leadership, along with the NUCEAO board, for all of the great work that they've done, not just this past year, but really over the last few years, navigating the pandemic for what is clearly perhaps the top alumni group at the university, because of all of you. So can we please give the board another round of applause? I'd also like to point out that Anna was recognized as one of the 2022 ASC New Faces in Civil Engineering. And so congratulations, Anna. So Northeastern has certainly done as well as perhaps any university in the country in addressing this pandemic. And for those of you who are alumni, I think you can be proud of the leadership, the creativity, the investment made by Northeastern that allowed us to be open at reduced density in 2020 and 2021, and then at full density this past academic year, inviting back 100% of our students for both of those 2 years. That was quite rare nationally, and I think it helped all of us. These qualities of being able to pull off something like that certainly fit into the great culture and history of Northeastern. These are qualities that I'm sure many of you felt when you were here. A lot of drive, a lot of grit, and that is still true to this day, and I think you could see it in what happened over the last couple of years, something we can all be proud of. Happy to report that this past academic year, and particularly this past semester, were about as back to normal as we could get. Students were largely learning on campus. We held events, we held receptions for our students, faculty, and staff, all culminated with an in-person graduation at Fenway Park last Friday, really a monumental production that ended in rousing singing coupled with a burst of fireworks to celebrate being back together. So I would say at Northeastern, we're not ignoring all the sadness that went with this pandemic. And indeed, the feeling of support was quite strong in the Northeastern family. But we have worked hard to provide a very positive atmosphere and environment for our students. These are young people, and this was so important for us to do, where they could choose to be together, to live together, to work together, to learn together. And I also want to point out that throughout the pandemic, our hiring in co-op and after graduation remained very strong. We're going to hear from Jess Ormsby in a little bit, and I just want to say a hearty thank you to all of you who participated in that. I spoke to each graduate for the class of 2022 a couple of weeks ago at a luncheon we hold for them, and they're doing really well. They have great graduation plans. So tonight, we celebrate, and celebrate being back together. I hope you really have a great evening together. I'd like to congratulate our 2022 Outstanding Alumni Award winner, Greg Janey, for his remarkable career, marked by outstanding work, but also years and years of selfless service to the profession and the community. Greg, on behalf of the department, we offer our heartiest congratulations and thanks for all of you have done. And as you may know, Greg is chairman of the board at Wentworth Institute of Technology, and I would like to acknowledge and welcome the president of Wentworth, President Mark Thompson, along with all those from Wentworth who joined President Thompson and Greg Janey here tonight. Thank you for joining us. President Thompson, where are you? There you are, right there. Thanks to all of you. Great to have you here. In the house tonight, we have several of the past winners of the NUCEAO Outstanding Alumni Award. Great to have you all here, and I would like to ask all those past winners of the Alumni Award to please stand and be recognized. There we go. Look at that. And among our other distinguished guests tonight, I have to call out longtime faculty member Rick Scranton and legendary co-op coordinator Bob Tillman. Let's give them a round of applause. And just one more recognition here, which is we have several people here who are Golden graduates, 50 years out, class of 1972 or older. Great if you could please stand to be recognized. Great to have you here tonight. There we go. And I also want to say wonderful to see so many younger alumni here. And thanks to all of you for being here. Thanks to those of you who are friends for being here as well. So in our department, certainly much to celebrate this year. give you a few examples. Early in the pandemic, we launched a new student group, very active, 40 to 50 students from across several of the majors at the university, led by civil engineering students, putting forward an outstanding entry in solar decathlon for the first time from our university, designing a sustainable multi-story building for the future. They did a remarkable job, and through that went to nationals, the national competition in their first year of existence, really a great achievement. This year, they're taking things a step further and are working with a developer to help design and build 2 sustainable multifamily housing units in Boston, a huge undertaking. These are going to be real. Families are going to be moving into them. And so just an example of the aggressive can-do attitude of our students. Yep, thank you. Our PhD students are winning major national fellowships. For example, National Science Foundation Graduate Research Fellowships on a regular basis now. Catherine Bassett, working with Professor Michael Kane, is the latest. NSF graduate fellowships are granted to a very small percentage, about 10% of the applicants, and every year now we have 1 or 2 of our PhD students winning these, and really speaks to the quality of what's going on in our graduate program. Our department is continuing to grow. We have 5 more faculty who are going to be joining us this coming fall, bringing our total to 36 tenure track faculty, 13 non-tenure track faculty. We have about 650 undergraduate and graduate students. We have numerous new degree programs and, of course, the widest array of research that our department's ever done. This past year, we brought in several new faculty, and I'd like to point out Jack Lesko as one. He's one of the top scholars internationally in engineering mechanics, senior professor, and he was brought in as the director of engineering research at the new Roux Institute up in Maine, which perhaps you've seen in the press from time to time. And as part of that, they'll be hiring a number of faculty who will probably be associated with our department. And we've hired one this past year, Nathan Post, whose expertise is in renewable energy. And so our other campuses around the Northeastern network certainly offer great opportunity, and the Roux Institute, as it continues to expand, will offer access to an increasing number of people. And our department is aggressively addressing research and education related to a number of vital topics for our time. Perhaps most pressing are issues of climate change. Just met earlier today with our Industrial Advisory Board, and that was a lot of the discussion, is how we're going to address this in our research and especially in our curriculum moving forward. As an example, this fall we're launching 2 new graduate certificates, our first certificates out of the department. They're 3 to 4 courses each, so about half of a master's at the graduate level. One is in climate and engineering, one is in sustainability engineering. You could think of them as minors within a master's degree. And so this is an example of how we're trying to see and address issues that many of you might feel in your practice. And so would always welcome advice on how we can address these issues in academia. I'll also say this fall, we're going to be opening a completely refurbished space for our students. We call it the Cee Innovation Studio. That includes a large build space along with specially designed teaching laboratory for environmental engineering and water resources, really our first specially designed teaching lab for those fields that we've had in a long time. The build space is going to be helping our students build and develop prototypes, embed creativity, invention, and innovation into our curriculum. We think these are really critical moving forward as we see more and more proprietary products and other things coming into our profession. So we're trying to address that directly. As many of you have heard, we have a new dean in the College of Engineering, Gregory Janey, who just finished his first full year. We have a new provost, David Madigan, just finished his second year, and they are bringing a lot of new ideas. Always a great time to be at Northeastern. So I'd like to again thank Anna and the NUCEAO board for organizing tonight's event. I'd like to thank all of the sponsors that Anna pointed out for stepping up for this. I'd like to thank Diana Bruncheck and Adrian Denneberg from the Office of Alumni Relations. They did so much work to prepare tonight's event. Can we please give them a round of applause? And I would also like to call out Dan Dulaski, Professor Dan Dulaski, Jess Ormsby, and Cheryl Aruda They're the faculty who are really underpin the NUCEAO organization. Let's give them a round of applause. So to wrap up here, it's through our alumni's hard work years ago and through your important ongoing support as alumni and friends now that we're able to create all these opportunities and impact the world as we are now. We ask that you certainly be involved in our work, in our campaign to help drive us forward, to provide opportunity for our students around the world. I'd always be happy to speak to any of you about our programs. I want to thank you again for joining tonight. I hope you have a great night. Welcome back to Northeastern in person. Thank you very much. And now I'd like to bring up Jess Ormsby, our co-op coordinator.
Hi, good evening, everybody. It's so great to be back together in person, as Anna and Jerry have said, after so much time apart. I wanted to take a moment to provide you with some co-op updates. I want to start with the impact of COVID on co-op. Like many of us, COVID created some turbulent times for students and employers. As you may know, in March 2020, when the world was shutting down, Northeastern also closed all residence halls, creating quite a challenge for students living on campus and working on co-op. Employers were also at that time trying to figure out how to move to the world of remote work, and some were not able to continue supporting our students. That caused approximately 25% of our students on spring 2020 co-op to either end the co-op early or temporarily stop work. An impressive 75% of our students were able to successfully transition to remote work and complete their co-op positions. The students who were searching for fall co-op during the spring semester also faced challenges. And as many employers decided they were not able to support a student for fall 2020 and rescinded job offers to the students. But the students, they persevered, they were not deterred, and they continued to seek another co-op position and were very active in their co-op searches. And their hard work really paid off. In the fall of 2020, 95% of our students searching for co-op successfully obtained jobs for the fall cycle. Overall, our employers were really impressed by the students' ability to transition to remote work and be effective during the pandemic while working remotely. So currently, co-op hiring has returned to pre-pandemic levels, with 100% of our students seeking co-op successfully obtaining roles. Most jobs are back in person, as you may know. However, we are also seeing quite a bit of flexibility where employers are doing hybrid work or, again, allowing for some flexibility of in-office and remote work. Anecdotally, our students really are enjoying and preferring in-person co-op. As you can imagine, the major, mentorship is important, and being in person really can help that. But they also appreciate when employers can be flexible, especially with long commutes and things like that. So if there's a hybrid model that works for you, that's what our students might be looking for. We continue to see more students opting to graduate in 4 years and do 2 co-ops. And this past fall, the incoming students were automatically assigned to a 4-year 2 co-op pattern upon enrollment. That means our students seeking a 3rd co-op are often in high demand. So keep that in mind. Interview early, make offers early to those students. As you're already probably actively aware, hiring in our industry remains really strong for both co-op and full-time. We're hearing from employers trying to fill full-time roles, as well as students getting many interviews for both co-op and full-time hiring. You might know about the increase in our combined majors. In fact, over 25% of our students are pursuing a combined major. In our department, the most popular combined major that we're seeing is a major of civil engineering and architectural studies. And from a co-op perspective, we often see students in this major do 1 co-op in the civil sector and then another co-op in the architectural sector. Often the civil co-op is in structural or in construction management. We've been working closely with the co-op coordinator of the School of Architecture to make sure we have opportunities for these students, and thus far they've been fairly successful. We have some of the graduates here tonight as well in this combined major who've had both of the co-op opportunities in the different fields. For all of our students, we're finding they are seeking roles that focus on sustainability, alternative energy, and building science. And they are passionate to make an impact on combating climate change and preserving the environment. As usual, if you're interested in hiring for co-op, please find me or reach out for a discussion. I'm happy to explore and talk to you further. I would be remiss, and I'm sorry, Anna, if I go a little bit over, but I need to give a brief EWB update as the faculty advisor for our Engineers Without Borders student chapter. Despite the global pandemic, they have been successful in moving their projects forward, which is very impressive despite what's happened over the last 2 years. During the peak pandemic period, they met virtually every week via Teams, and since this past fall, they've been meeting in person, which has been great to see because they do a lot of great team building events. They've expanded the number of technical mentors supporting them, and they're also trying to maintain and grow their student membership. It's been challenging over COVID to get students engaged, and being back in person is key in that sense. So as we have the 3 programs, and I'm going to go through them briefly. The Guatemala Program, with the help of an in-country EWB office, was able to remotely oversee and complete the construction of a school building and is now being used by the community. Very impressive, you can imagine, in a pandemic. The students are now actively completing the bathroom and wastewater design packages and hope to oversee remote construction this summer and travel in early 2023 to inspect and complete the completed construction and possibly identify a new project. Members of the Panama program traveled right before the pandemic hit and were able to use the data that they collected to finalize the solar panel design, to identify a viable location for a drinking water well, as well as now they're working to finalize a solar panel design to operate the system. They have been challenged with finding a driller, however, they're confident they've found a contractor that will hopefully install the well later this year. Then they hope to travel to the community towards the end of the year to collect the water quality data and begin construction of the water distribution system and the solar panel array. Finally, our Uganda program has been using the time to finalize the design of a water distribution system, which includes a solar array, piping system, tank, tap stands, and pump house. They're also preparing a cost estimate for work and hope to travel for implementation at the end of the year or early next year. So as you can see, each program, despite being grounded from travel, they've been able to move forward, communicate with their communities, and continue the projects in those countries. So if you're interested in helping out with the student chapter of EWB as a technical mentor, please let me know. And if you're interested in hiring for co-op, I'll be around this evening. And I look forward to catching up with you, and thank you for your time. I'm going to turn it over to Jack, our student speaker.
Hey everyone, I'm Jack. I just graduated from Northeastern last week, so I'm one of the most recent, thank you. I'm one of the most recent NUCEAO members. So over my 5 years at Northeastern, I had the pleasure to be involved in just a few of the many wonderful student groups in the CEE department. And tonight, I just want to give you guys a couple updates on the wonderful things those student groups have been doing over the past year. So I'll start off with our NUASCE chapter. After having been meeting virtually for the past few semesters, this year we finally got back in person, bringing in speakers from all different aspects of the industry to talk about the great projects and work that they're doing in the country and internationally. We've also continued to have some of our great traditions like the bocce tournament going strongly, and adding in some new traditions like a cornhole tournament against Wentworth or a kayaking trip. We've also had a lot of site tours to show students different projects around Boston. This one picture, I think, was from the Jenga building on Com Ave at BU. I don't remember what the actual name is, but it looks like a big Jenga tower. So that was really great. Next, our steel bridge and concrete canoe teams were working hard over the past year to prep for their regional competitions. Concrete canoe competed virtually and brought home 3rd place. Steel bridge, which I'm especially proud of, competed in person at the University of Connecticut, bringing home 3rd place and qualifying for the national competition at Virginia Tech. So they're working hard. Thank you. They are working hard in the shop as we speak, getting the bridge ready for the competition next week. and I couldn't be more proud of the team's accomplishments. Additionally, Solar Decathlon team, like Dr. Hajar mentioned, has been making big strides in a short time as they've become a club very recently. So they're doing great stuff. And EWB, as Jess just mentioned, also doing valuable work in some impoverished communities. ITE, NUCEAO, and NUCEAO have continued to have a robust lecture series, bringing in speakers from different areas of the industry to talk about niche subjects in transportation, water, and sustainable building. And additionally, I'd like to touch upon NUASCE's current community service project. Some of you may be familiar, as it's a project that's kind of been ongoing over the past 30 years or so. The Fenway, or 20 years, excuse me, the Fenway Garden Project, the Fenway Victory Gardens Project, some of you may know, in 1997-98, we built the accessible plot there and then renovated it in 2010-2011, and it has since fallen back into disrepair, so we have once again taken up the task to make some positive changes to the garden. As you can see, some of the planters were really in disrepair, as well as the fences are out of shape. They wanted a new storage area, a new seating area. So our group has taken the initiative to make some changes, and we're looking for help. If you are interested in donating or money or your time, you could look at that QR code. Also, there might be a brochure on your table with some more information. You can put your name and email in there, and we'll get you some more information. But we're going to be having some volunteer days this summer and in the fall, and we'd love to have anyone's help if you're willing. That wraps it up. The student groups have been doing great. We have a lot of interest from younger students, so all these great groups will stay alive for the next few years, which is wonderful. And yeah, with that, dinner will be served soon. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Everybody enjoy your dinner? Yeah? All right, good. A lot of heads nodding. So my name is Mark Gabriel, class of 2004. Good to see all of you again. It's been a long time. I really had to dig deep in the closet to find an outfit that fit. My wife told me it wasn't the dryer. It was shrinking my clothes. I would like to hand out tonight the NUCEAO Awards. And I just want to start off by saying the NUCEAO Awards are all funded by your support, your donations, and your help. And we really appreciate that, and we thank you all for that. It allows us to be able to pass that along to students who are graduating. So, again, thank you all for your support and your donations. And tonight, the NUCEAO Award recipients, I'd like to ask each one of them that are here tonight to come on up. Unfortunately, they didn't give me the check to give to you. Bob Tillman spoiled that years ago. So let's start with the first recipient, I believe, is not here tonight, and that would be Lauren Howe. Right? The next recipient is Jack Karras. Come on up, Jack. I know you're here. All right. And while Jack makes his way up, the next recipient is Matt Macy's. I heard you're here. Come on up, Jack. Stand on right there. Right. And the final recipient tonight is Michael Mayer. All right. Come on up, Mike. And these are the 2022 NUCEAO Award recipients. One last time. Congratulations. All right, great. You want me to? Thank you very much. Congratulations. And now I'd like to invite up past NUCEAO Award recipient, Mr. Leo Peters.
I don't know if anybody has noticed something that I sort of noticed looking at the screen. Bob Tillman seems to be in almost every photograph. I couldn't believe it. It's always a pleasure to award a scholarship. This is a great group. I'm fortunate that when I went to college, co-op paid for everything, basically, and I didn't have any debt coming out of school. But today, we know that students are faced with very large sums of debt they have to deal with going forward. So this is the 27th award that I've made, and the 18th to a female recipient. As the father of 4 daughters, I've always encouraged women to be in our profession. The percentages are increasing, but still it's not the same as the number of men. We like to see more women become engineers. Just last week, I attended Northeastern's graduation at Fenway Park. I have a granddaughter who is graduating with a BS in mechanical engineering. I couldn't convince her to become a civil. Her older sister was a little wiser, and she chose civil engineering, but she chose another school. But she is getting her master's here next spring, so I'm going to be looking forward to attending that. This year's scholarship recipient is Sarah Condon. Sarah graduated in December with a BS and master's concentrated in geotechnical engineering. I know she worked at Haley and Aldridge, and she worked at several other places, a contractor. She was an active member of the Engineers Without Borders and ASCE. She's now employed with a geotechnical contractor in California. I'm sure she will have many very successful career, and I wish her the very best. And it's great to see young people coming forward, getting awards, and going forward, and hopefully we'll do a lot in our particular profession. So I want to thank everybody.
Leo, thank you so much for all you've done for our program. And I don't have solid data right now, but I think our BS in environmental engineering is typically over 50% women. And so we're really happy to hear that. And our department is pretty close to 50-50. So we'll keep that going. Don and Holly Pottle could not be here this evening, unfortunately. I'm presenting on their behalf. They've had a great scholarship they've awarded for a number of years now at this event. And Don wrote a statement that he asked me to read. He said, "When I came to this country, we landed in Boston and there were 7 of us living in a 3-bedroom apartment. I was given a scholarship to Northeastern and have made a promise to myself that I would pay it back. This is my feeble attempt to keep this promise. Holly and I are honored to be involved with Northeastern. And I know when I meet with these alums and they think about doing something like this, it comes from deep in the heart. We are so appreciative." Tonight's winners are class of 2023, so they'll be with us next year, Isabella Dascoli and Alexander Renault. Unfortunately, they couldn't be here tonight, but let's give them a round of applause. Now pleased to invite up Lieutenant Colonel Ed Winters.
I want to thank Jerry Hajar and Dan Dulowski for selecting the award recipients for the scholarships I was able to obtain from the Society of American Military Engineers, New York City Post, which has a reserve for the scholarship fund of about $3.2 million. And they give out over 200 scholarships each year at 75 different universities, colleges. There's a huge committee that's dedicated to writing the letters, contacting the schools, obtaining the names, and we have a publication that we put out. We have an annual dinner dance at the Waldorf Astoria, which lists every scholarship issued by the New York City Post, SAME, and we always get large donations at that dinner dance at the Waldorf. So we rely on Jerry and Dan Dulaski to get the names back to us in time for the publication. I also want to send a shout out to Tom Sheehan. Is he here? Tom Sheehan? He's not here? Okay. He's what? Couldn't make it tonight. He couldn't make it? Okay. He's a Navy officer. John Sullivan, he is not here. He was a soulmate in the class of '63. Heather McKay Ford. Oh, Heather, there you are. Okay, thank you. Let me see. Loretta Fernandez, a former scholarship winner. Loretta? Down there. Mike O'Brien from the Alumni office. Not here. And of course, Bob Tillman. Unfortunately, my wife Evelyn couldn't make it. This is probably the first one she ever missed. She had surgery last week on the back, and the 3-hour drive from where we live in Connecticut and 3 hours back, we decided that would have been too much after just having surgery. But she's very sad because not seeing Bob, because Bob calls her honey every time he sees her. And they're both from the 60s, and they have a lot in common, talking about the 60s. I'm a local kid from Jamaica Plain that used to take the streetcar into Northeastern until I got my hands on a motor scooter. When I got a motor scooter, back then you could drive it all over campus. Nobody cared. And that was it for the streetcar. We live in Cromwell, Connecticut on a TPC golf course. We're very fortunate to be able to do that. We live on the 13th fairway. Now, I'm going to talk about me for just a second, okay? I am 83. Everybody over 83 years old, put up your hand. Put up your hand. Everybody over 83. Okay, 1. Come on. 2. You're over 83. Oh, okay. Okay. That kind of worries me a little bit. And I got more to worry about in that last October I decided to get cataract surgery. So I went in, they did an eye 1 week apart, got the left eye done, no problem. And they were doing the right eye a week later, and my heart rate dropped from 70 to 40. And I went in for an EKG the next day, ended up in the Hartford emergency room that night. The next morning, I had a pacemaker put in. And the day after the pacemaker, I came home, everything's fine. The doctor said, I'm as good as a 20-year-old. Okay? And when I told my wife what the doctor said, she said, get away from me. She did. But it's also the same, it was the same year I got the vaccination, the 2 vaccination shots. And I throw out there, is there a relationship between people all of a sudden needing pacemakers and after getting their vaccination for the virus or whatever? So that's, I'll leave that question up in the air. By the way, my wife bought me a piece of jewelry for getting the pacemaker. It's a medical bracelet, and if for some reason you were to pass out or get in an accident and the medics show up, the first thing they do is look for a medical bracelet to see if you have any medical issues. And this one has a little secret compartment that they open up. I've never opened this, and I thought I'd open it today, see what it says. It was very kind of her to give me this. Here it is. There's a message. It says, do not resuscitate. I kid. It says pacemaker. I kid. Okay, the life of an engineer. The life of an engineer. Go to school at Northeastern for 5 years, work like hell for 50 years, then retire, play golf, and then give away all your money. Boy, you can make a lot of kids and grandkids in that 50 years. Today, so far, the Society of American Military Engineers has given a total of over $81,000 to Northeastern University civil engineering students. My first giveaway was 1989, and since 1989, there's been 81,000 given. The scholarship fund, New York City Post, to set up a scholarship, I have to say this, it's a $15,000 one-time payment, $15,000, and the person making the donation selects the school where the student will get the awards, and it'll be in perpetuity. I was the treasurer of the fund for 27 years, in that I lived in New York City for 5 years. My last 5 years of active duty. Okay. Being the treasurer, there were 2 scholarships that were awarded to me for my service, which I picked Northeastern, and they're in my name and my wife's name. There were 3 other scholarships in other names that I talked the donors into giving to Northeastern. So there's a total of 5 scholarships in perpetuity that will be sending a scholarship every year. The total fund stands at $3.2 million. Okay, the award recipients, and I can't thank enough that Jerry Hajar and Dan Dulaski have worked on selecting the students, and it's completely up to the staff to select the students. I have nothing to do with that. So I'm going to read the names. If the students are here, please come up. Remy Fun, James Fawn, Emma Cahan, Louise Holloway, Nathan Snyder. I was told that one couldn't make it, but so glad to see these young students. And I know if I checked their GPA, it was a hell of a lot higher than my GPA. I would never qualify for one of these back when I was a student. But these are the award winners, and you heard the names, and congratulations, and thank you.
Okay, Ed, thank you so much for all you've done. Next, pleased to announce this year's Cochrane Fellows. About 5 years ago, Jack Cochrane gave a transformative gift to establish 2 graduate fellowships in the department, and he put forward a statement here because he could not be here tonight as well. And he said, the Endowed Cochrane Fellowship Program is now in its 5th year, including the 2 outstanding students being introduced tonight. A total of 10 recipients have received this. And as I mentioned earlier, many have gone on to receive prestigious national awards. Jack says, I cannot possibly relate to you the satisfaction I've had and experience in watching these exceptional scholars make their mark by contributing to a better environment for all of us through their research work. Of course, this would not be possible without the many outstanding faculty members in our department. I agree with that. So let me introduce the 2 winners tonight. First is Begum Erdlinger. And Begum, please join us up here. And Begum is working on research related to toxins that are developed through research in explosives by the Department of Defense. Not only working to purify those, come on up here, but also using the results to be recycled into fertilizer. And so she is working with Professor Philip Larice Casanova, and congratulations to Begum. Thank you. Congratulations. And then Elizabeth Partuska could not be here this evening. She's working with Professor Ed Bigley on using satellites to address water resource issues, really cutting-edge research. So congratulations to both of these fellowship winners, and thanks to Jack Cochrane. And next, Bart.
Out of all people, they asked me to help make up time. All right. I was given the honor tonight to hand out the Outstanding Alumni of the Year award. They did give me the award to hand out. It's not with Jerry. And tonight it goes to Greg Janey, who graduated with an MS in '09 and is the President and Chief Executive Officer of Janey Construction Management. They're a firm providing professional construction management services throughout the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic region. And as a professional, he has been actively working in the industry for over 35 years, overseeing a variety of complex construction and institutional programs. Janey Construction has been contributing to Northeastern's capital program for over a decade and has been involved in the construction of the International Village, ISAC, Squash Busters, Carter Field, and currently EXP. All the while, They've been providing co-op opportunities for students at Northeastern and have hired many Northeastern students and alumni. So thank you for that, Janey Construction. But back to Mr. Janey. He was raised in Roxbury, Massachusetts. He attended Boston Public Schools and dreamed of one day making his own mark on the city. His mission has stayed consistent throughout his career to use his education, advocacy, and deep professional industry experience to provide opportunities for residents in and around the neighborhoods where he grew up. Mr. Janey continues to invest and advocate for the development of underserved Boston neighborhoods by providing scholarships for Black Boston public school students entering into STEM education. He is from a sixth-generation native Boston family comprised of educators and advocates. And, pausing here because this is very important, is also a grandfather to a beautiful little girl and another soon-to-be little girl. Congratulations. And when asked, what fond memory do you have about being at NU? Because I always got to ask that. Is collaborating with my classmates in the Snell Library on the 4th floor and also enjoying the John D. O'Brien Center. And with that, I'd like everyone to give a warm welcome to Mr. Gregory Janey and the Alumni of the Year.
You all can be seated. Thank you. Thank you very much. Forgot the announcer's name already, but thank you, by the way, for that generous introduction, and really thank you for the kind words of support. I really didn't anticipate all that, so thank you. I'd like to first start with thanking NUCEAO for this award. I can honestly say that I'm extremely overwhelmed with gratitude for being selected for the Outstanding Alumni Award. It just wasn't expected. It really wasn't expected, so thank you so much for that. I want to thank the nominating committee, and I want to call out Christine Kevel, putting my name forward for this, and thank you all for that, because I'm certain that all the nominees were very capable to be standing here receiving this award. So Christine, nominating committee, thank you so much for that. To be recognized for your body of work and be amongst some of the recipients in the past, like Sam Slyman and Heather and Megan and all these folks, is really humbling. And it's something you don't look for when you're working. What we do externally with our work is not to be recognized, because this is what we do, and this is why we do it. So I'm really, really humble to be amongst the folks who are recipients in the past, so thank you for that as well. In the room, so look, thank you all for sharing this very special occasion with me. There's really too many names to call off, but I want to thank the students for being here first and staying the entire night, faculty, staff, the Industry Advisory Board. You know, Christine Kevel and Jerry Hajar are doing just a remarkable job connecting this university with industry, so you folks, thank you for that as well. I can't leave without thanking my team. Wentworth President Mark Thompson is here, and he brought the entire team, so really thank you for coming here, thank you for sticking it out, thank you for supporting me, Wentworth table as well. And then finally, thank you. Finally, I can't forget my head and shoulders over here at the Janey table in front. You know, nothing happens without these folks. They're truly my support, my head and shoulders, and really keeps everything going for me. So you folks, thank you as well. So Dean Harris, I don't know how many of you know Dean Harris, but Dean Harris, really, you're not here, but thank you for who you are and what you do. I want to be clear, I would not be standing here if it wasn't for Dean Harris. That's a fact. He is directly responsible for me being at Northeastern and also receiving this award. Directly responsible. He's not here, but I really, really appreciate Dean Harris for that. What you may or may not know is my family was partly educated in this, what once was an institute, whether it was Dr. Cliff Janey, father of the former mayor, Councilor Joe Feaster, very good friend of the family, and also Councilor Davis. I've had the opportunity to watch this institute, when it was 5 white buildings, grow into a fantastic global research university. And as I've watched this institute grow into that, I learned about the civil engineering program, of course, from my esteemed colleague, Christine Kevel. And that's one of the reasons I decided to come here, to pursue that civil engineering degree, because such a fantastic university and doing a fantastic job with its civil program. But it was challenging. I didn't have the grades to get in. And Dean Harris, I want to go back to him, thought that I had some value. He didn't just look at the grades. He looked at the body of work, and he bypassed the grades and said, how can I find a way to get you into this university, because I think it's going to make a difference. I wish you were here to thank him more. I'm so grateful for Dean Harris for doing that. You know, I went back to school in my 40s. In my 40s, you know, when my children were going to college. And I left the position where I was very comfortable. I was the president, and still am, I hope, of Janey Construction Company. Used to being the boss, very confident in what I was doing, and walked into a situation where I became extremely vulnerable. I'm in a place now where I'm vulnerable and relying on these wonderful students to now help me. All of a sudden, after not taking integral calculus in, I don't know, 40 years, these folks corralled around me and helped me get me through that. I can tell you that that was the most humbling thing that I've experienced. You know, I completely needed that. It opened up and expanded better learning for me. It opened up my way of appreciating the international community, which was a large part of my learning, appreciating them for their candor, their perspectives, and all of what they do. And at the end of all that, it allowed me, this university in its strength and what it did for me, to be a better contributor to my community, to the academy, and also to the global industry. So I'll just ask all of you to not keep what you have. We're all here to give it out. Don't keep anything. Our body of work is not to be noticed, it's to be given. I want to thank Dean Harris again. I want to thank NUCEAO, and I want to thank all of you for being here. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Please see you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. I couldn't leave without that, Christine. That's for you, then.
Thank you, Greg. That was wonderful. So congratulations again to all our awardees tonight. I'm so glad that we were able to get everyone together again. Our reimagined dinner last year over Zoom was great, but nothing beats connecting in person and sharing a meal with your old classmates and professors. Personally, I always enjoy hearing from the Outstanding Alumni recipients and all about the great things they have accomplished throughout their careers. It places an inspiring mirror up to hearing about the successes of students who will soon be starting their careers. Thank you to everyone for joining us tonight, and thank you again to our sponsors for helping make tonight possible. I graduated some years ago now, and no matter what twists and turns my life or career may take, and despite all the changes on campus, I know that I can always count on feeling at home here at Northeastern, or more specifically at Connor Larkin's, but we can't win them all. At this time, I would like to announce that the next NUCEAO president will be Ryan St. Martin. He couldn't be here tonight, but I'm looking forward to seeing where he takes the board next year. One last thing before we go, we have some fun raffle prizes to give out that I'm about to give out, so I have some names for you. Our first raffle, come up when I say your name and I'll give you your prize. Our first winner is Kate Engler. I'll put it here. Our next is Casanella Kelly. Cassandra, that's not how you say Cassandra. Our next, and you're going to think I'm lying, but it's true, is Bob Tillman. Joanna Sullivan. And Kurt Frazier. Here are your fun prizes. We have one more. I don't know who's not here. All right. We'll get that one later. All right. So anyway, that's all we have for tonight. I encourage you all to stick around for some post-event networking and conversation. I hope to see everyone again at a future NUCEAO event, but until then, go Huskies.